The brief was to take a close look at the debossed markings on two example roofs, marked 10 years ago during the IOM3 project, to examine the effect of time, weather and exposure to pollution. Another element was to examine the markings from short, mid and longer distances to see if they adversely affect the heritage significance and aesthetic appearance of the roofs. The two roofs selected couldn't have been more different. Northampton Guildhall is in the centre of town. The HQ of West Northamptonshire District Council, it's an historic building attached to a more modern annex. It has numerous roofs and at least 5 of them have a lead component. St Peter is a fine example of a medieval church. It also sits in the centre of Northampton. It's no longer in use and has been handed over to the church's Conservation Trust, who look after its upkeep whilst allowing access to both worshippers and interested parties. I visited both locations twice. The first, during the snows of March, was not a great success. High winds prevented any airborne photography, and I couldn't access St Peter's grounds due to the locked gates. However, I had more success at the Guildhall and gained permission from the facilities manager and assistance from Michael King, the maintenance officer for the council. He took me up on the roof and helpfully scraped the snow aside to show me the first mark I'd ever seen. The second visit on the 11th of May went well, and myself and Michael again climbed to the roof, from where I could fly the drone, this time in the warm. As mentioned, there are numerous bits of lead roofing across the estate, some more accessible than others. These were all shot on the centre of the building, where they are in front of the air conditioning ducts but also surrounded by higher pieces of the building and thus not so exposed to traffic fumes, etc. This next set was shot further back on the building, and again you can't see the debossed marks with the naked eye, but even zooming in on a high definition photo, the marks are only just discernible. Northampton Guildhall markings are discreet and seemingly unaffected by the passage of time. They were as clear in the snow as in more clement conditions. They appeared every 14 inches or so, and are most prominent on the rear roof at head level. Sadly, this location saw the only theft of lead in 2013, only a few months after it was marked. Later the same day, with the permission of Gabriella Miseriello, Head of Conservation at the CCT, I was able to access and take off from the grounds of St Peter. Gabriella told me she was with the CCT in a more junior position when the project was completed in 2013. Otherwise, I might not have carried on looking for the marks. Looking with the naked eye from ground level, I couldn't see a single mark. Even looking at my drone photos, I couldn't see any marks to the same degree as those on the Guildhall. I'd taken the photos in two ways: the normal JPEGs, but also in RAW format. The RAW version uses 8 times as much memory, and as such produces a much higher quality image, which can be zoomed up for detailed examination. It was on doing this that I saw the marks. They're in the same format as those on the Guildhall, but they appear to have degraded much more and been obscured by the weathering of the lead.